Hey everyone, this is Kim Grewe, and I'm your facilitator for this OER workshop part two, implementing OER, offered by the Online Learning Consortium. And I'm really excited to be part of this. I love these workshops. I've been facilitating them for a few years now, and I've also had a hand in revising and redesigning them. And hats off to Sherry, the instructional designer whom I've been working with and who did this course. I think it looks really great in Canvas, and I'm happy that we're in Canvas now. So welcome to everyone to the workshop. And we'll get to know each other a little more in the introductions, and you can read all about me on the facilitators page. You'll see, as a matter of fact, on this home page here, facilitated by Kim Grewe. You can click there and learn more. The other thing that's great about the home page is that the objectives are on here. And also, it explains the way you move through the course and has a nice navigation path through the course or workshop. Let's call it workshop. It's just for a week and it's a workshop. But anyway, it's really a nice way to go. So that's one way you can go. Also, if you continue to scroll down the home page, you probably know this. I'm sure many of you probably have experience teaching online, and Canvas is familiar to many. But in case you don't know, at the bottom is a course summary of all your due dates when things are due in the course. And that's shown an odd time because there's a conflict of time zones, etc. But everything's always due at 11:59 your time on whatever day that's due and whatever time zone that you are in. So keep that in mind. And then also keep in mind when you are a student or a participant, like you're going to be in the course, the to-dos also sort of here on your right-hand side. So it's really nice. As soon as you jump in the course, you know everything that's kind of due because it's all there. It's been preloaded. It goes fast. It's a week. It goes very quickly, but everything's laid out. And it's, even though it's an asynchronous experience, there's a lot of opportunities for interaction with each other in discussions. And so you want to try to get into the rhythm of you post on one day and then the next day the replies are due. You post the next day the replies are due. And then that way for the third one. So there are 3 discussions in the course, and that's the way you'll move through. But the culminating thing for the course is the OER implementation plan. Now, if you've been in part 1, you explored OER. You actually explored some of the repositories and referatories. You practiced open licensing. You explored what that was. You put a license on something of your own, that you wrote, and you actually got your hands into the dirt, so to speak, or into the nitty gritty of OER. In this one, you are thinking more about implementing it. So even if you explored it and you're just thinking as an individual how you might implement it in your course, that's one way to think about it. But if you are a division or a department chair or a dean or a leader of a division or a director, and you would like to implement OER on a sort of wider scale, either like a department, a division, or a small professional learning community, there are a lot of ways to think about it, but that's what you're thinking about. How are you going to implement this? And you're going to think about things like this: main topics, professional development. Because even if you're an individual, you are going to want to get other faculty on board. That's how you're going to sort of make it a more formalized approach and also maybe grow it. And also, when you read about the CARE framework, this is one of the open education frameworks. It's about the ecosystem, and it's about being a good steward and giving back. And so, that's part of what we're talking about here as well. So professional development, but also maybe like targeting your high enrollment courses. It would have the highest impact if OER was adopted there, and that might be a way to implement OER on a wider scale at your institution. And then there are the technical considerations. So you're going to see that the way the workshop is structured, really the idea is you want this implementation plan. You want to have that as your final deliverable. Whether it's ready to deliver to leadership or not, you're well on your way to making an implementation plan so that you can take action. You got a timeline, you're going to implement things. And that's your goal. And everything in the workshop sort of leads you in that document and to that goal. So the navigation on the home page has everything laid out like I just sort of laid out the course. The other thing I really like, and I'll come back to the syllabus because we always tell our students the syllabus Canvas, but I tend to like to go through the modules when I'm in a Canvas course in particular, because that seems to be a really nice pathway. And the way this workshop is structured, that would be another great way to move through the course. And in the welcome uh, module, you would get your welcome message. And this is another way you can access the syllabus and look at the schedule. And you see the support forum, which is a place that you can get help, and the water cooler forum is there. And then here's the introductions. And this is basically moving through the course day by day, day 2, day 3. And each of the days, again, there's going to be some reading or content to consume, an activity, which is going to be working on part of your plan. And then you're going to either be starting a new discussion or doing replies to peers in a discussion. And that's how the workshop kind of flows. So you can see that through the home page. You can see that through the modules. And then, as I said, in the welcome module, you've got the syllabus, which we're going to look at in a sec, and the schedule. So here's another place you can have an at a glance. Here's what we're doing this week. It shows you what's due. And again, it's that rhythm of post in a discussion day 1, replies in that discussion day 2, post, in discussion day 3, replies day 4, and then so on to the end. And again, building the implementation plan as you go. The discussions are around the topics of the implementation plan. So again, just kind of reviewing the navigation. What I will do is I'll go through the syllabus, some of the key aspects that I don't want you to miss. First of all, I just think it's so lovely the way they have these nice slides that you can move through for the syllabus. It's a nice visual and a visually appealing syllabus. And again, this is going to be talking about best practices and strategies for implementing OER. Like, how can we help faculty do that? How can we do that? What things should we consider when we do that? And how can we have the biggest impact when we do that? And those are sort of the things you're going to think about through that plan. And here are the 3 major learning objectives: to identify those strategies to engage, our colleagues in doing this. You are going to create that plan, as I said, either for yourself as an individual, for a small cohort of courses, for a program, for your department, however you want to think about that, for your college. I don't know how big it could get. And then learn about how to support and make a plan for how to support OER, a faculty who are implementing OER. And these are the key takeaways. And these are some of the things you'll get at: strategies for successful OER adoption at a course level. We'll review again those different approaches to adopting, and we'll do technical considerations, and we'll get that implementation plan ready to go. These are some of the technical requirements. There are no synchronous meetings for this workshop, but if you need to talk to me anytime, I could jump on a Zoom if that is something you would like. But as far as technology requirements go, it's the asynchronous component that you need to think about. This again is the workshop schedule. So if you're ever, it's like it is everywhere. So it's great. It's in the syllabus like you might expect it to be if you don't think about the modules, for example, or the homepage. Again, assignments are due by 11:59 p.m. Your time zone. And again, the idea, we want to try to get these discussions rolling. So that we're engaging with each other in the discussion space as best we can. So just try to do your best to be engaged there on a good rhythm. You'll see me engaged. I mean, I'm gonna be right there in there with you all, replying, responding, and learning alongside you. I truly am honored to work with colleagues like yourselves, because I know you're all already doing some great work. So that's going to be great. This says things will be great within 3 days, but what I'm telling you is in this 1-week workshop, it's actually more, usually 24 hours. It could be 48 as it gets towards the end of the workshop, but especially at the beginning, I love to be engaged, and we'll be doing my best to do that. And yeah, you definitely, the idea is everybody's going to get through the workshop successfully, and I hope get something out of it. If for some reason, some part of a submission that you do is missing something, or I don't understand something, I may ask you to take a look at that. I'll give you some feedback and ask you to revise it. And once you do that, you'll get that other point, and you'll get the points and get through the course. Everything's worth 2 points that way, basically in the course, but or in the workshop. But my expectation is everyone, is definitely going to get through. Every now and again, you may be asked to revise or review something that you've submitted. And this is going through things very important, academic integrity, etc. Please know, I definitely trust and think the best of all of you and expect nothing but the best. But if you have any questions about those types of policies, please review that page. You will get this award of completion once you've done all the assignments, but they also have to be graded. So I have to evaluate them and put those points in. And then we also ask that you do that workshop survey to let us know how we're doing, both in the design and facilitation of this workshop, so that we can continue to get better. And the way that you'll get that, by the way, is some may be familiar with Canvas and the idea of things sort of, it was called adaptive release in the old days. I can't think of what it's called now, prerequisites or requirements. But as you go down the modules, there's actually an award of completion module down here. And you see I'm in student view, so it's grayed out, because what you have to do, these 3 things have to be finished in order for you to get this award of completion. And in order for these things to be finished, you do the survey, and then I will put in these points once I evaluate all the work. So I have to manually input the final grade points there. And once I do that, voila, this will be available for you. Okay, so the only other thing I think I want to tell you about that's pretty important is about getting help. If you have something about you personally, like your grade, or you want to negotiate some due date or something, please just email me. But if it's something that you think the whole class could benefit from, excuse me, please. Please go to the support forum and post your question there. And I was going to show you, it's pretty easy to subscribe by you just click right here. So now I'm subscribed. Sorry, friends, my throat got a little dry. It's important to tell you, though, that you can subscribe so easily to a forum or to a discussion just by doing that. And that way you'll get an email notification. And I want to remind you also, back here in the welcome module, there is some information about, how to set up your notifications so that you can get those if you subscribe to a particular forum. And so again, I subscribe to the support forum, and I recommend you do too. And that's if you're having any question in class, during this workshop, about the way the workshop, what's happening, or something's not working in the workshop, or that sort of thing, content related, posted here. And I ask if any of you have an answer that you feel free to jump in and provide guidance, but I will certainly keep my eye on this and try to reply within 12 hours of your original post. The water cooler forum is just is to hang out. I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to that too, because fear of missing out is real. And if you all hang out in there and talk about like your favorite movies or something, or your pets, and I miss it, I would feel bad. So feel free to go in there and hang out. That's for all of us. I think that's about all I want to tell you. I'm going to actually stop that share. And I'm just going to look at you and show you my hands. And because research says that makes a bigger impact in video, you tell me. But thank you very much for being here. I'm excited to learn alongside you. Like I said, it's a fast-paced workshop. So, welcome aboard, and let's have a great week together. And I'm here if you need anything. And yeah, that's it. So I'll see you this week. Thanks.